Hello and welcome to Seed Faith Homestead. I am Russell and excited to be doing this again today. It's a Thursday afternoon, about 1 o'clock. I should have already had this posted, but it's been a busy day. Linda's still in there working on the computer, doing her thing that she does every day. And I'm out here sweating right now. In the shade, it says it is almost 100 degrees. It's 96, according to that thermometer right there. So I am sweating, but it's all good because we are here to plant some microgreens, and I'm going to plant some spinach and lettuce that we're going to grow indoors in the windowsill of the kitchen. And we're going to do that in solo cups. And the great thing about it is you can harvest these and they grow back, and you can cut the leaves again and they'll grow back. And you know, lettuce is real bad about bolting, and spinach when it gets too hot, but especially lettuce. And you don't have that much of a problem with that indoors because you can control the temperature. You just got to kind of watch how much sun is going to get through that window. So this window right here gets the morning sun, but there's a bunch of trees that block that first thing, so it only gets a couple of hours of direct sunlight through that. And I believe it'll be okay. This is an experiment. I did lettuce and spinach last year down in our basement in the wintertime, and it did great. I've never done it in the summertime in solo cups, so we'll see. And I've never done microgreens, but how hard can it be? You just spread the dirt and moisten the seeds real good, let them germinate, and it don't take but a week or so for microgreens to come up, to 2 weeks, depending on the type. But I'm actually going to use, I don't know if you can read that, Red Jewel Cabbage. Cabbage has a lot of nutritional value to it, especially in the microgreens. It can help with your stomach. It can help with if you have inflammation, which is the main reason I'm doing this one. It can help with I said so it can help with your blood as far as it does have vitamin K in it. So if you are on blood thinners, you may not want to do red cabbage because of that, because it can help with blood clotting. So be careful there. Always, whatever you eat or grow or eat, always should check out and see if it affects with any of your medications or anything like that. I'm no doctor, but unfortunately I have to take medicine, and I have to watch, make sure things and vitamins and all don't interact with my medications. But saying all that, this is going to be very easy to do. Anybody can grow microgreens. Anybody can grow in a solo cup. God produced seed in such a way that it is made to reproduce and to grow. And all we have to do is put it in the right situations for that to happen. You can also, I know here, the tomatoes and stuff that Linda has planted, some of them, especially the cherry tomatoes, are splitting on her because of all the rain. But when you plant stuff indoors, you can control that, or in a high tunnel, which we don't have. But anyway, it's all good. Hey, I wanted to give you an update on the coop. I'm going to walk up there and show you some of that. Also, Linda, she's so excited. If you follow us on Seed Faith Homestead on Instagram or Facebook, I don't know, she probably put it on both, but she got her first squash bloom today. We've only been here a month, and she's growing them out of pots, but she has a squash bloom, and oh my goodness, she was so excited early this morning. So hopefully it won't be long until squash will be right behind it. Let's see if there's anything else. Chickens are doing great, but the coop, like I said, I'll show you the coop and then we'll come back to planting. So hang on, don't leave me. Okay, I'm out here in the chicken coop area. As you can see over my shoulder here, this is the back side of it. But as you remember, our barn had a big white swinging door that was not in good shape. But anyway, we've got it closed in, took it off, and got it closed in now, as you can see, and got a door right there that we'll be able to, we're going to do a split door, a barn door, top and a bottom. So we'll be able to let the goats in and out through there. So it looks really good. I feel like it matches the old very well. Also got the rest of the poles set for the chicken run, not run, but chicken barnyard, I guess you would call it, area. So excited about to get those posts in. And as I walk on down here, you can see when we get ready for the goats, they're going to have all, I don't know if you can see that string there. It's hard for me to tell with the sun, but it runs all the way down there to that pole. So they'll have all that area. And then also this that was fast. This side over here going just on this side of the door there. Well, actually from coming out of the door, and where those posts are, well, go the right way. Where those posts are at right there, that's where they'll come out at, and they'll have all this area here. So we're very excited to be making progress. Hopefully in another couple of days or week, depending on the weather, we'll be able to get the chickens out here. Going back over here by the coop. And I'll try not to fall because we got stuff all on the ground here. You can kind of get a look at the coop in their run where we hadn't done a whole lot to it except finish closing it in. Well, still a little bit more to close in, but I think it's going to be a good size for them to be able to come out in and out of, and then also be able to open up the door there. It's going to be a full-size door. Open it up and allow them to run out in the yard part there. So anyway, we'll get back to the planting where it's a little cooler in the shade. And hey, I appreciate you. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Hope you enjoyed looking at the coop and all. But I just made a huge mistake. I just filmed this next little segment, realized I didn't have my mic on. It probably picked up, but I thought, hey, I can probably do it better. But then again, I may not can this time. But anyway, we're going to start with the microgreens. The first thing I started out with is I bought these tins right here. I got 10 of them. Woo, they come in 2 packs of 5. Got these from Dollar General for little or nothing, and maybe $2 to $3. I can't remember how much they were. But first thing you got to do is you got to clean them real good. And after I cleaned them and got this one ready to use, I got my drill, which I've already drilled these, but I drilled holes all in the bottom. See if I can turn this up enough without spilling dirt that you can see the holes. Just make you plenty of holes. You don't want it to hold water. Now the reason you don't want it to hold water is because it will drown the seeds. You don't want to drown the seeds, and you don't want mold starting to grow on the seeds. So I drilled a bunch of holes in the bottom of it, and then I put about 1/3 of the amount of dirt. As you can see, they're not very big pans, but I went ahead and put the dirt in here as well. Add a little bit of perlite to it so it would drain, help with the draining of it. So we're ready to plant. Now normally you would have a pack of seeds that had a bunch of seeds in it, because what you're going to do is you're going to just pour these seeds evenly over the whole thing here. After, of course, you level this out. You got to level the dirt out. You want it good and level. So next thing I will do is take my Red Jewel Cabbage, which these are tiny seeds. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, they're tiny seeds. So I'm just going to focus here on the center. I don't need a pan this big for this. I could have split it in half and did something here and something here, but this is an experiment. I've never done this before, so let's just make sure this works. So I'm going to sprinkle these in across here. And like I said, there's not near enough seeds in here to do what I want to do, but it's an experiment. So if it works real good, I'm going to buy me a big bag and we'll do a whole tray and just have it stacked up. But next thing you do is I'm actually going to go get a little cup of dirt, and we're going to sprinkle it on top of these. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. That didn't take long at all. So I got me a little cup of dirt here, and I'm just going to sprinkle it on the top here, just to kind of put a layer on top. Not a whole lot. Looks like I'm putting a lot, but I'm not. Not a whole lot. And then I'm going to just spread that out and kind of pat it down, making sure that the seeds are covered. I want to make sure that I'm not hitting it hard. It looks like I'm beating it. I'm not beating it. I'm just making sure that the soil is making good contact with it. Now the next thing you do is wet it down. Well, before I wet it down, I want to space out this pan. I got some clay pebbles here that I've had for a while. I don't know if you've ever used clay pebbles. They work really well in hydroponics. So I'm going to get just a couple of them to put down to separate the pan from the bottom pan, just so the water that drains out, it's not sitting in it. So I got me a couple of them right here. They look like this. If you've never seen one, they hold water really well. So anyway, let me pick this tray up, set it over here out of the way, and I'm just going to drop these in here. I don't know if you can see that. I don't knock the whole pan over. That's just going to keep this tray from going down as far, and setting up a little bit higher. Come on, get some over here. Okay, that's good. That's good. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to water it. Now I know if I had a mister, I don't know what Linda did with the mister that we used at the other house, spray bottle I should say, when she was doing her plant starts. It's somewhere, just like my underwear somewhere, still packed up somewhere. We ain't found everything yet, but we're getting there. But I'm gonna, a man's gonna use a hose pipe instead of a little mister. So let me get the hose over here, garden hose. Okay, I'm back. All right, some free advice for you. When you're using the garden hose in the end of July, make sure you run water out of it first, because it'll be hot, especially if it's been sitting outside. And make sure you're not dousing all your seeds and stuff with boiling hot water, because that's what it feels like when it first comes out. So anyway, that's just free advice. So I've got it good and cool now, as you can see. Now I'm just going to mist it without misting my, I think I'll bend it in half, so without misting my camera there. And this, I'm going to wet it good. Make sure it's good and wet. Let that soak for a second. All right. If you don't moisten the seeds real well and get them all, they're not going to germinate. It has to be moist to begin with. And now all we do, I'm going to let this dry a little bit and get me a towel and clean up my overspray. And this is ready to just sit out here for the next 10 to 12 days, and hopefully I'm praying we're going to get a harvest of microgreens out of here. Even though it's going to be a small amount, because I just had the one little bag of seeds, it still should be should be sufficient to test it out with. So if you're interested in knowing how the nutritional value on this, as I said earlier, you can always Google it. They've got Boo Cooler's information. Just look up microgreen nutritional charts, and our microgreen red cabbage nutrition, and it will list you all the properties that it'll help, and it'll also list you the nutritional count. A cup of these, I think it's like 28 calories in it. So it's for the nutrition you get out of it, there's not a lot of calories, and there is protein in it, and there is fiber, and it's in as I told you the other day, it's like 40 times the nutritional value of a full-grown plant. And on top of that, it's the taste is more intense. So if I was you, I would try it out, like I am. I've heard a lot of people talk about them, so I'm trying it out. But I'll keep you posted on how this goes. Now we're going to go to the spinach and the lettuce that we're going to grow indoors in the windowsill hydroponically. So I'll be right back. All right, I am back. Got cleaned up here. It's kind of funny. I went in there and got the paper towels out of the garage, and the chickens were going crazy when I walked in there to them. So I had to pet them for a minute, and they're crowing like crazy. I may have told you that already, but they went crazy when I walked out there a while ago. But anyway, we're ready to plant the spinach and the lettuce. So what I've got right here, I've got I don't know if you've ever used rock wool grow cubes. It's like kind of like what's in sheetrock, rock wool there, or not sheetrock, but insulation. But they look like this. I've already wet these real good. I got that. I've got my net cups. I will use, not today, but when we get ready, after these have sprouted, and we get ready to actually put this in hydroponic fluid, we'll use these cups and these solo cups. So we will not be using this today. It'll probably be Saturday or maybe even Monday or Tuesday of next week before they're ready to go to that. But this right here is a cup of water, just regular water. And what I do is I take my rock wool cubes, grow cubes, and I just drop them down in the water, and they'll sink. And I let them sit there for a little bit, let them get good and soaked. And this is so easy, guys. This is so easy. And once they get good and soaked, I will pull them out. Yeah, it's good and wet. And now you can take a pencil, you can take a nail or whatever. I don't have one. I got my little knife here. So they've got little holes already in here. Now you can split these up into quarters, and there's still enough for them to germinate in, and to all this is doing is giving them something to initially germinate in, to hold the seed. And when you put them in the net cups, you put the clay pebbles around it to keep the light off of them, but those roots will come out of the bottom here, and as long as those roots are touching the hydroponic fluid, they're getting nutrition from that. And the roots will be just as white as can be. It's amazing to look at, but the plants grow so fast because it's nothing but concentrated fertilizer that they're living off of, and so it works really well. You just have to watch and make sure that you're not growing any kind of algae or anything down into the water. That's why you got to make sure you cover it up with these clay pellets around the seed and all to keep light from going down to the bottom. You cannot use a clear type of container where light will get into it. You got to either tape it off with some construction paper or something, or just make sure that it's not transparent, and it'll work just fine. You won't have that problem, and you'll grow good veggies, leafy veggies doing it this way. This will work on greens, any kind of leafy veggies. You have no problem with this style. Now there's like 7 different styles of hydroponics, but this is by far the simplest and the most primitive of them all. It takes no electricity. Some of them will take they flow water across the roots. It's an ebb and flow. It takes 2 different types of pumps. Some of them the deep tank method, which is you'll see people use the big bins that you get like at Walmart, you know, with the handles, and you can store stuff at storage bins. That's what they're called, storage bins. They'll cut out holes so that the net cups will sit down in them, but it holds 5, 6, 7 gallons of the fluid in there, and you don't ever have to add to it. You just got to make sure that the roots are sitting in it. Now as it dissipates, the roots are getting longer, so they're reaching down in it, but they'll put a air stone in there or two to aerate the roots as well, the dry part of the roots, and the bubbles help that helps it even grow even better. So there's, like I said, there's a bunch of different types of them. I think there's 7. But anyway, we'll get started here. First thing I'm going to do, since these are good and soaked, is I'm going to enlarge the hole right there just a little bit, so I have a place to drop my seed down in. Now I'm going to do these 2. I should have got a label. I will get a label. I'm going to start with my lettuce. Now these seeds, like the red cabbage, the red cabbage was so small, you have to use pretty much get a toothpick and wet it to stick to the seed, a pencil, hopefully. Oh my goodness, I'm talking about tiny. Let me see if I can get one in the palm of my hand here without pouring them on. I don't know if you can see just how tiny these seeds are. I'm gonna plant 3 or 4 down in here. I got 5 in my hand right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6, if you can believe that. 6 of them in here. So I'm just gonna take this, dip it down in the water here, get it wet, and then if you just lay it up against it, the seed will stick to it, or it's supposed to. It does a pencil. And of course, look at this. Do not do this with the blade and wipe it off, because you're liable to cut yourself. Well, this one ain't gonna stick to it. It does with the pencil though, I promise you. I've done it, and a toothpick. I've also used a skewer for kebabs. So I'm just gonna put 4 down in here, or 3, whatever. They're so tiny. Now you don't want to plant them down too deep, but you do want to, once you get them in there, you want to squeeze and pinch it together on the end, and make sure they're down inside there and they're making connection. So I'm gonna push that down there a little bit. That one stuck to my finger. All right, once I got it down in there, that wants to not stay in the hole. I'm gonna squeeze the top together with my fingernails. to where it looks like that. I don't know if you can see that, but I squeezed that together where the hole originally, you could see a hole in it, hopefully. That's where we're going. I'm just enlarging it. I still got seeds in my hand after planting 4. But a pencil, if you'll take a pencil, it's the perfect, or the end of a pen, and just stick it in there and twirl it a little bit, works great. Now this is sticking to my finger too, so I can do that as well. There's 2 seeds. And 1 more. I need another seed. Now, boy, I just poured out a bunch of them. Goodness gracious. It's all right. I've had these seeds for a year now. So hopefully they will germinate. That's why I'm doing multiple seeds in there. Now that they're wet, I probably really messed up. I'll be growing in this container, this little package here. But that's all right. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is just squeeze that shut. Squeeze it shut. God, that's it. That's it. Now God will do the rest. Let me get this planted real quick with the spinach. Let's see, while I'm doing this, what else I can tell y'all. Had a great night at church last night. Here in Alabama, COVID is starting to stick its head back up. This new version and so people are starting to get concerned about masks and stuff again. And yes, it is I hate to see people living in fear, because God said He hadn't given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. We're supposed to have a sound mind and trust in Him. I've got this other one planted. I made a mess of this hole right here. I should have, I don't think I opened it up enough. I sunk it down, but it'll still grow and come up from there. And like I said, it's good and moist. So if this one doesn't come up, it's my fault. If it don't, I'll just do another one. So now is the waiting game. The waiting game will start. I expect to see it break the ground or break through here, especially the lettuce. I think it's a little faster than the spinach. Last time I did spinach, it didn't do as well, and I don't know why. But we're going to figure it out this year. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to come to the point to where I can not be a master of it by no means, but at least have success for our household. And when this grows, like I said, when we put this in this cup, here I'll mash it down into the cup once the roots are coming out. I will take this solo cup and I'll cut around here, all the way around the cup. And I'll take it out and then I'll cut the bottom out. You see the bottom hole right there? I'll cut that out. Now that circle, the reason I use these solo cups, when I use these net cups, they'll fit right down in that hole, and that lip on there will sit right on top of it. Then I'll take this and stick it down inside of another cup, not this one that we cut the bottom off, but I'll stick it down in a cup upside down, and so the net cup will be sitting up here towards the top. And when I do that, I'll have my hydroponic solution in here, and it'll grow in there. And then once the lettuce reaches the size that we want to start cutting it, you start cutting the bottom leaves off all the way around. Take your biggest leaves off, leave them about 2 or 3 at the end of the smaller ones at the top, and wait about a week, and it will replenish those leaves. Or wait 2 weeks. That's why I like to have 2 of them. I can eat off of one, and then while this growing back, this one right here will be ready to cut. The second one will, and then I can wait and then cut off this one the next week and just rotate between the 2, and you just cut off however much you're going to eat that night. But leave yourself 2 or 3 of the smaller leaves at the top, and it'll grow back. It's crazy. I've seen it. I think we did 5 or 6 last year cuttings off of one plant. Just kept cutting off. Now the leaves will start to get a little smaller, but it still comes back. So one last thing to tell you: do not let these dry out. If you let them dry out, the seed's going to die. It's just like in dirt. Don't let it dry out. But don't keep them soaked and so wet that they're going to drown. You can tell. They're really wet right now, but that's just the beginning. Once they sprout out there and we put it in the solution, these do not sit down in the water. Only the roots will sit down in the water, and it'll bring forth the harvest. I appreciate you guys very much. I hope you are enjoying our little journey here. I know we're just a little bitty mark on social media or YouTube, but we're enjoying talking with you. We're enjoying sharing with you. It's work to put these out 3 times a week, but it's worth it. I enjoy it. I enjoy reading the comments. I enjoy the communication that it's opening up for me and Linda as well to actually share in a lot more than we did before. Husband and wives, that is very important. Don't go with this marriage life solo and doing all these things on your own and leaving your spouse out of it. It's not supposed to be like that. God created woman for man to be a helpmate, and vice versa. It goes both ways. It's got to go both ways. So I love you guys very much. I hope you like and share and subscribe. And we're going to keep plugging on and keep sharing. And God bless you all. And you have a blessed week. See ya.